Hello and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick, and today we're going to be talking about ditches, which may or may not sound exciting to you. It probably depends on where you live and whether you have a ditch in your backyard that floods. But my guest is Quincy Daniel from the city's Public Works Department in the Stormwater Division. Welcome, Quincy.
Thank you.
And you've been here before.
Yes, ma'am.
And we've talked about the issue of ditches in general. But today you're going to tell us about two projects specifically, one that you've completed and one that you're getting ready to start. And let's talk about the one you just finished, which is Edgewood.
Yes.
Okay, where in the city is that roughly?
That would be on the northern part of town, off Aberdeen, in between Mercury Boulevard and Todd's Lane.
Okay, all right, we're pretty familiar with that. Kind of back, Todd Center, back in that area.
Right.
And what did you do in that project?
We did a drainage improvement project where we piped in the back easement that takes the water towards Mercury Boulevard. We roughly laid 400 feet of pipe on the back stretch and another 200 on the side and another 100 in the front.
So you took open ditches?
Yes, ma'am.
And piped them in?
Yes.
And residents like that, I think, in general, right?
Well, it makes the place look neater, and it also lets the water flow out a whole lot faster because pipes move water faster than ditches do.
Oh, because they're smooth, there's
Right.
no friction, they can, but now you can't do that everywhere. There's a lot of restrictions, I think, on open ditches can sometimes accommodate more. I mean, you've got to go back and forth a lot in figuring out what is the best way to improve drainage.
Right. Pipes make water flow faster. Ditches hold more water by volume. So.
Gotcha. Okay. So there's an equation there.
Right.
So how much did the Edgewood project cost? Ballpark.
Ballpark, we're right at $58,000.
Hey, that was an inexpensive one comparatively.
Right. Right.
And so you guys are next going to embark on a much larger project.
The next project that we were just talking about earlier today was the Penwood project. And that's scheduled to be starting here real soon. We don't have a definitive date yet. Of course, weather plays a part in when they're actually going to start doing it.
It is interesting, and, you know, I don't know when this will air, but that you and I are talking on a day where, let's say, it's the third continuous day of rain. We've probably had 3 inches so far. It's all your fault, Quincy. You bring the rain, don't you?
Well, I love the rain. It helps the TMDL, helps cleanse the earth with the rainfall. It moves, it feels good for the rain, for stormwater anyway.
Okay, we need the rain. It's a good thing. We just have to be able to accommodate it.
That is true. That is true.
So the Penwood project should do what? Tell me about that.
The Penwood project is going to be where they go in and they remove a whole lot of trees. They're going to stabilize banks that have slid over the course of time, and they're going to reshape the ditch and help the water move through a whole lot faster than it normally does.
So in that project, we're going to keep the open ditches.
Yes.
But we're going to clean them out and remove things that have caused them to fill in. So you're basically making them bigger, right? So they can hold more water?
Well, it's going to be a cleaner, healthier ditch that moves water faster because they're going to reshape the bottom and make it easier to maintain when it's all finished.
So there's 2 parts to this. One is kind of increasing the capacity, and one is the maintenance part, which I know you guys go out to pretty much every ditch in the city once a year, twice a year? Well,
we go twice a year. That's our scheduled routine maintenance, but we will go more if we need to.
But this will make it, your bi-yearly maintenance will be easier and more effective once you do this.
Right, be real easy to maintain.
Now, where is Penwood? What area of the city?
Penwood is on the Bethel side of town, Big Bethel side of town, in between Joiners Road and Mercury Boulevard. That's where the Penwood ditch runs between.
Okay. All of this, though, is about increasing capacity, but also cleaning up the water before it gets to the bay, right?
Right.
So tell us why we're doing this. Why is the city investing in this?
The city's investing in it because we get a cleaner ditch, and with the TMDL.
Now, we don't say those acronyms here on the show.
Okay.
You have to say mandated pollution diet. How's
mandated
that?
pollution diet.
Cleaner bay, something
cleaner
like
bay,
that. Okay.
It takes all the phosphorus, nitrogen, and sediment out, and it helps us easier to maintain to remove the sediment as it accumulates in the bottom of the ditch.
Okay, because if it goes from the ditch to the bay, you're putting all that sediment in the bay.
Correct.
Now, ultimately, you look at a map of Hampton, and we have water pretty much everywhere.
Right.
But Newmarket Creek, I mean, it's small in a lot of ways. Like, it's not the waterway that pops out, but it runs like through the whole city. It is almost everywhere. So a lot of these ditches that you clean out, many of them do flow into Newmarket Creek.
Mm-hmm.
Is Newmarket handling the volume of water that it needs? Is it what ultimately, how do we fix the problems that are because the Newmarket flooding?
Well, the Newmarket flooding, it's influenced by tidal influence. And the only way to actually help Newmarket Creek would be what the engineers have researched to have tide gates.
I saw that on one of the studies. That's even a couple of years old, and I think, A, it's very expensive, and B, people are a little nervous about that concept.
Right. Tide gates can be a little expensive, and not knowing how tide gates work, because a lot of people haven't seen them, then they're reluctant to try something that they don't know a lot about.
So that could be the solution in the long term. But in the short term, you're really talking about making the water flow better, but you are still going to hit a backup if it's tidal flooding. If it's rain flooding like it is right now, everything should flow pretty well.
Right. Under a normal rainfall, 2 inches of rain over the course of 24 hours, we shouldn't have any problems with the storm drain system unless there is a blockage blocking something somewhere. But under a normal rain event, you shouldn't have any problems. So
if I do see a blockage, Quincy, what do I do?
The best thing to do is to call 311, and
Absolutely.
they will submit a ticket over to Stormwater.
And you guys will go out in the
Right
middle
away.
of the rainstorm and take care of that
Right
pretty quickly.
away.
I've seen it happen. I've been, in fact, in the EOC, and something came in over Facebook, and by golly, someone walked out the door to go check it out. I am astounded at how quickly you guys work, and in some of the worst conditions. I mean, I know you can't do your preventative maintenance when it's pouring down rain, but you certainly do the cleanups when you need to do them. So, suppose I live in another part of the city and the Penwood and the Edgewood don't affect me. When are you going to get to my problems? How do you decide what to do first and prioritize the projects in the city?
Well, we've been working on a schedule of the whole city as far as maintenance, and we're trying to put everything on the schedule of maintenance so we'll know exactly when we've been there, when we're going to come back, and everything we've done while we were there to help out in the area.
But that's the normal maintenance. So how did Edgewood rise to the top of the list, and how do you determine where the big money projects are going to be?
Well, Edgewood was it was done a while ago. This project was scheduled to have been on our schedule, I want to say at least 2 years ago. And it takes some time, and the engineers have to look at it, and then they tell me exactly which project and which way we're going to which project gets done first, and they give me the rotation.
And one of the other issues there is a lot of times, because what you're doing involves wetlands and water, you've got permits to go. I mean, it's not just the city of Hampton's decision. You've got to get federal permits and all kinds of regulatory authority to do what you think needs to be done.
Right. The Army Corps of Engineers is usually who the engineers submit the permits through, and then they, in turn, go to all the other permittal agencies, and then we get the permit back once it's done.
So you guys in Public Works then keep a pretty long list of areas you'd like to get to and determine that not by who shows up at City Council and yells, but where you can make the greatest impact for the dollar, where the biggest problem is.
Right. We have a list, and the list is done by severity on which areas need to be addressed first, and that's what we usually go by.
And then, of course, which ones you can actually get to based on engineering and dollars and the Army Corps and whoever else you need to ask.
Correct.
So do you have anything you'd like to add about what your folks do or how to know that your folks have been there?
Well, we are getting ready to put out door hangers on the doors. As we do work in the area, we will put door hangers on the door of any property that's affected by what we've done to let them know, hey, we've been in the back easement, we cleaned the back easement, we've washed the storm line on the side of your house, and we leave a number for you to call back if you need any information on what took place while you were gone.
I think that's a really helpful communication because what happens is, let's assume the homeowner's at work or school or, you know, not there during the day. You guys come and clean out the ditch, and then the homeowner never knows and thinks, hey, they haven't been out here to clean out my ditch in 4 years, because they can't tell, they don't know, they may not be out there looking at it. So this is your way of letting people know, yes, we're there, yes, we've done the maintenance, and if you have any questions or problems, call us.
Yes, that happens quite a bit where they don't think we've been there for a while, but in fact we have. So this will help stop some of that from happening, to let everybody know when we've been there, and you can call us and make contact if you have any further questions.
And I do want to remind people too, you guys give my department that information, and every Monday in the e-newsletter that we send out, we will tell you Public Works is scheduled to be in these areas doing street work, doing ditch work, so that you can know when they're going to be in your area, if you need to take any precautions, or just know that that work is going on. And to subscribe to that, you go to hampton.gov/enews and fill out the form, and we'll let you know every Monday what's going on in the city. Quincy, is there anything else you want to add about what you guys are up to next?
Well, my next project is going to be on Wilton Road, 514, where we're moving the ditch 5 feet over in the easement, so it'll be easier for us to get to and accessible for water to flow.
So that will help the maintenance process as well, to keep it clean if you guys can get to it. And why else would you move a ditch? What's that?
Well, sometimes we have to relocate it because you have so many obstacles in the way, trees, tree roots, and we try to get easements so we can actually go on the property and maintain the ditch the way it's supposed to. So all of that plays a factor in when we have to do something like that.
All right, so any tips for homeowners about, you know, keeping an eye on their ditches, maybe cleaning them out a little bit if they're physically able to do that?
All that would be helpful, and if you can't, then you can always give 311 a call and they'll send me a ticket, and we'll be put it on our schedule and we'll address it as soon as we can.
Okay, so that's 311 from a landline within the city, right, or 727-8311 if you're on a cell phone or if you're working in another city and want to call during the daytime hours. Thank you, Quincy. We appreciate everything you guys do to keep flooding at a minimum, and we will keep tackling this issue. It's not going to go away in Hampton. We've got a lot of thinking to do about the best way to mitigate a lot of our flooding problems.
Thank you.
Thank you, Quincy.
You're welcome.
And thank you for watching Round Robin.